Welcome to our first non-podcast version of the DorkLair going live. Let me actually remove this banner. I have a better banner for right now. And I want to just welcome FIGURFAN Nate to the DorkLair. What's going on, man?
Hey, Bill. Very happy to be here. Thank you for asking me to join.
So Nate is a very talented toy photographer, also a bit of a podcaster and streamer himself. You have FIGURFAN Nate on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also in the Figure Booth. Is that your podcast or your channel, or is that
Yeah, that's
the other
something
guy?
I share with me and Prime to the First. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a shared thing. We both, I guess, dual ownership on it.
Right. He's the arcade guy, right?
Yeah, he makes
Yeah, okay.
1/12 custom arcades, props, all kinds of crazy stuff. He did dials at some point. He does toy photography here and there, but that's kind of his main jam.
Yeah, he's super talented. Let's say what's up to the people in the chat. Casper's here, Trevor's here. Let's see who's here. J Mac, Jesse, Hedgehog. Hedgehog was on with Michael Casper a couple weeks ago. Excuse me, on the Legions Lair.
Oh, and, nice. Another great show.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Those guys rock. Yeah. And I all props to those guys who are, going for it with the completism on Mythic Legions. But yeah, so we are going to talk today. So this is kind of like, let me mention kind of what we're doing here. Like we are basically, I'm going to try to like do a live as much as I can every Thursday. And so like every other Thursday will be the podcast. And then the week that we're not doing the podcast, I want to try to do, just do like a live stream to talk about news and to maybe take a little bit of the volume of stuff off of the podcast. Because sometimes with the podcast, when you go every 2 weeks, it can be like a 3-hour thing. And now that we're streaming, I don't really want to do like 3-hour streams. I can't. It's just too much. But so I'm gonna try to do something on those off Thursdays. So what's up, people? What's up, Tyler? Nate's here.
Hey, what's
up,
Nate?
Nate, Trevor, and I, we do a show the same Mondays that the DorkLair podcast week happens. And that is the Legions Lounge. And that is a lot of fun. It's a great
Another great show. Yeah.
I'm very honored to be a part of that show. But
big fan.
Yeah. So today we got pretty much two things to talk about. We are going to talk about the tease of the All Stars 5 Mythic Legions that the Four Horsemen put out, I think, yesterday. And then we're also going to talk about kind of like a debrief of the Atticus Doom Mezco figure that went up for sale today. And we'll see if we can get to a couple other little things within our hour. But yeah. All right. Welcome, people. Okay. So let's pull up our news here. And so I dug through the old article. It's about a year ago. Jeremy wrote an article on the Source Horseman, I think it's like the blog page or whatever. And he kind of like recapped all of the All-Stars. So the information I'm about to share is pretty much like all taken from that article. And I dug around and found like screenshots of things. But I want to kind of break down a little bit of the history of the All-Stars so that we can then get into people's hopes and dreams, campaign, slogans, their pitches and all this stuff. Because one of the best things about the All-Stars is people really love to campaign for their figures. Nate, do you have just like initially like a couple favorites that you're hoping to see?
Well, I would probably get yelled at if I didn't say this, but Ilgar, I've been told, and I've seen, because I'm a fairly new Legions collector. So courtesy of Bill, my friend Sir Chappie, being part of the Legions Lounge and Legions Lair, kind of learning as I'm going and studying the Source Horseman page, I've been learning. So this will actually be a good education for me to kind of learn of how the All-Stars work. But Ilgar is definitely one that I'm campaigning for.
Yeah, I hope he makes it because he's been snubbed a couple years in a row. And I I know that he's I feel like if he's available in the vote, he can't lose again. But I said the exact same thing last year. Like, 2 years ago, Vitus lost to like, I was super shocked that Vitus didn't make it in 2 years ago. And I was super shocked that Ilgar didn't make it. And I was like, it's guaranteed to be Ilgar and Vitus. Vitus made it, Ilgar did not. So I was, we really do need, here we go, right here. Sanika Bryant, we really need Ilgar.
Has he only been released once, Ilgar?
Yes, in the 1.5 wave, I think.
Okay. Got it.
Goodie's here.
So this will be
Goodie.
He's definitely a good option because it's only been available one time. And if you're new into the line, that might be one that you're looking for.
Yeah. And, we're going to get into kind of like this idea that they haven't put up the original time they voted, every figure was eligible. And then the next time they did it on the third All Stars, actually, let's get into it. I'm actually going to walk you through all this stuff right now. So little history of it, and we'll see, what people, like for the example, we need an Azar, right? We'll see how people react after they hear a little bit of the history. So the first time they did the All Stars, people were just like asking for figures to come back out, reissues, second production run. And they just kind of watched and decided on their own which ones they were going to release. And these were the 6 original All-Stars 1 figures. Asterion, the Barbarian Deluxe Builder, which we've seen a few times as recently now as like 2 weeks ago. It's one of the best ever. Ornn, Sir Gideon, Sir Ignatius, and Scapular. Scapular is one of my top ones that I really would love to see personally. Jacob says, I'd love to see an All-Stars Champions of sorts, allowing the reissue of older All-Stars figures. Some of the ones from 1 and 2 are insane. Yeah, I at some point they're going to have to start doing second reissues. And it wouldn't be unprecedented, really. I mean, we know the Barbarian has now had a few reissues, as well as the Skeleton Legion Builder. So, it's not unprecedented for them. And I agree right here with Braku Prime that Romulus, to me, Romulus is one of the most well-painted figures. So good. Like when you get your hands on a Romulus, it's very impressive at how detailed and intricate that is. Okay, so All-Stars 1 was company chosen. All-Stars 2 is where it got nuts. All-Stars 2, they just said, here's every figure that's currently out. Vote for your top ones. So there was a vote for All-Stars 2. And I mean, everything was available. Otho was in an All-Stars vote, right? Like that's become almost a meme now, how Otho may never get reissued. If he does, it'll be like a 2.0 version of the character. But yeah, Otho was there. Like all the figures were there. All of them were available. And the winners of the votes, now they had a couple things going on here. Attila, Atlas, Bog Goblin, Carpathius, Jorund, and Vorgus, I believe, were 7 winners of the vote. Oh, and Pixis, I believe. And they introduced 2 brand new figures, Deltagar in the updated version of Egalis, and they added their own Legion builders, the Silver Dwarf, the Skeleton, and the Templar, which ended up having essentially the paint scheme from the named Godfrey, I believe it was.
Okay.
But yeah, so these were the winners of the vote, and then every time since then they've been adding some figures of their own to it. So we have seen reissues of all these.
But from what I understand, if you're voting in the past, you can't vote for prior All-Stars, but it sounds like that might change this time.
That's pure speculation on my part.
Okay.
Just
maybe that's wishful thinking.
Yeah, maybe it's wishful thinking. maybe it's just kind of based on the fact that at some point, like for example, if you go and try to find an Atlas right now, even though he's been re-released, he's just as expensive as any of the other figures, really. I mean, he's not Otho level, he's not like a $400 figure or something, but he's a couple $100. Like he's out of range for most people. And I don't even some people want to be completists, but like for the vast majority of people, I would never recommend spending $200 on a Mythic Legions figure.
Yeah.
I want to throw
He's
some
definitely
comments
another,
up here. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say he's another one when I was looking through, past waves that I would love to have a chance of getting. Because like you said, I've gone on eBay, not going to spend those prices on him. So it'd be cool to see him come back.
Yeah, and he's awesome. One of the cool things about Legions too is you can sort of practice completism in a way if you focus more on the parts. Like I want like a bare-chested one, like if you kind of like focus on the parts, like the bare-chested characters, the knight type characters, the skeleton types, like if you kind of focus on all those, you can get almost all the parts, except aside from a few heads like Atlas's head and a few other heads. But for the most part, like you can try to collect all of the parts too, which is kind of a fun way to look at the line, because there's so much reuse, clever reuse, and really skillful reuse, but lots of reuse.
That's something I love about what you do on your channel.
Mandibulus.
You're doing the customs, and that inspires me because I'm, like I said, I'm still fairly new to it, but the ability to part swap, like I got my Krampus, I kind of had to take it apart right away. And that was one of my first ones. I was a little scared at first, but then I realized it's so easy to, you just soak it with some hot water and everything comes off. So then you start to think like somebody like you, who's just part swapping all this different stuff. I would, it's pretty awesome that you can kind of make classic figures in a way just by part swapping.
Yep. And you can, like somebody asked me to make, the dwarf knight. I can't remember his name, but somebody asked me to make that dwarf knight guy just with because you can pretty much put him together. Somebody in the chat remind me what the dwarf knight, Sir something, with the wings on the head and he's kind of golden. But somebody asked me to do that in my next video, and I actually been queuing it up. I have it all set up on the table, but I'm going to do a review of the bronze dwarf, and all you need is a bronze dwarf and a barbarian, two figures that just got reissued, and you can make that particular character. It's pretty sweet. Like,
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's not going to look the same because it's going to be a completely different paint scheme, but the parts are there. Valgard, thank you, Nate. And baby lawn squared, thank you guys. That's exactly who it was. Valgard, thank you guys. All right, so this was the All Stars 2, and this was around when I was just kind of getting in. My first order was a pre-order during the Covenant of Shadows. It was the Deluxe Knight. I ordered a Deluxe Knight and I ordered a Templar. And this was not too long after that. Like this wave released right around the time of Advent of Decay.
Okay. And I've been seeing Eagleus pop up on people's feeds. So BBTS recently reissued him, right?
Yeah. So I think the history there, and somebody in the chat can maybe bring in some more knowledge of this possibly, but a while back, BBTS was shorted some supply that they were supposed to get. And I think they generally they get their stuff direct from the factory, I think, for a lot of stuff. And not just Legions, but for a lot of things. Like they're one of the few places where it's like it doesn't go to for Horsemen first. I believe it just goes straight to them. And they were shorted on some things, and so they did some second runs on stuff. So that's why you're seeing in All Stars 2, Egalis. I think some extra Templars went to them, and then some other so I think All Stars 2 and Advent of Decay the production was very close together. So I think there's a lot of overlap in figures that Big Bad Toy Store needed extras of. Unfortunately, they didn't
Wow.
get extra atlases or any of these other ones, but they got extra Egalises, Templars, skeletons, and a few other things, and especially like a bunch of Advent of Decay stuff.
Yeah, you're
2.0
selling
stuff.
that skeleton 2.0, right? That is
Yep.
saw from your video.
Yep. So that was an Advent figure, and that was around the same time that they were shorted a bunch of stuff. So my guess is this was another round of them getting their supply fixed up. By the way, we have 57 people in here. I think that's. I mean,
That's
this is
awesome.
only our third time, but that's a record for us. I think we hit 53 maybe. But yeah, let's see. We got some knowledge here. During the pre-orders of All Stars 2, there was an option to buy 6 packs of each of the Legion builders. Ah, nice. Okay, cool. Kind of like they did recently with Cosmic. It's funny how just so much back knowledge and you forget stuff.
Oh yeah, it's one of those lines that I'm so thankful for that Source Horseman page, because I feel like I'm, drinking from a fire hose, but it's good that I can kind of go at my own pace and kind of learn things. But it's a lot of fun. I love how they provide that.
Yeah, Jeremy Gerard, just that was one of the coolest things to happen to Mythic Legions was that page that he created. Like it just like to have the Mythic checklist, which we're going to get over to in a little while, to have all that information, to have all these articles. It's just such a great, could be just such a great resource. Trevor says there could be some Egalis at Zolocon. Interesting. I think there's probably going to be the reinforcements there as well, right? Here's one for you, Nate. 2 weeks ago, you were figuring out if you really wanted to jump in on Legions. Now you're on Bill's show.
I mean, it was a couple months ago, but yeah, he's calling me out. It's been a line that I've been back and forth on for so long, but I finally decided to take the dive. But thanks for calling me out, NYC Figure Fanatic, and shout out to Prime. He's in here as well.
Nice. Looks like Jonathan's gonna be at Zolocon. Where is Zolocon?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Jack can let us know. And Nate, you're going to AtlantaCon, or what is it called?
Toylanta. I'll be there. I'm excited for that.
Are you going for that, or are you just like happen to be traveling or something?
I'm actually meeting up with Sir Chappie, Cody. He lives close to there, and he brought the idea like, hey, why don't you come to Toylanta? And so I'm going to go out there and visit with him. And I'm glad to see that there's actually a lot of people from the Legions community that are going to be there. I'm pretty excited for it.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a mini Legions con for the Legion stuff, because a lot of customizers, a lot of stuff there. Okay, so that was All Stars 2. And then, so here, everything kind of changed with All Stars 3. Remember how many there was for All Stars 2? And then All Stars 3, they were very selective of what you could vote on. So this was what we were allowed to vote on for All Stars 3. The All Stars 2, I wasn't in it deep enough to have much of a say. And I may not even have voted. I think I remember the vote happening, but it didn't really, I didn't really have much of a thought on what to vote for. But now this was the one that I was pretty heavily into it by then. And this is what they gave us. So they started bringing in, so at this point, you're not seeing Advent of Decay stuff, but you are seeing Colosseum. I think that there's a couple Colosseum ones in here, perhaps. But you're only getting what they wanted to show you. And in the article, it talks about how, they're withholding some figures because they have plans. Like they have plans for someone like Otho or some of these other characters, and we may not see them. So we still may not see them in this next All Stars 5. But this was what was up for vote. And of course, we had you were able to vote for 4 or 6, and then they picked 4. And the 4 that they didn't pick 4. The top 4 were the winners. The top 4 were Voligar, Malleus, Zazar, and Torion. And then you had the 2 Masters of the Universe tributes with Hordak She-Ra tributes, and then you had the Stone Troll that had this is a new version of the Stone Troll because it came with an alternate head. So yeah, so those were the ones, and those ones right about a year ago, those ones actually released, I believe.
Yeah, and you
early
brought this
21.
up in your video, but I was surprised to find Malleus on BBTS. I don't know if he's still there, but I grabbed him because it seems like it's an older. I was surprised to see an All Stars 3 figure in there.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
like
I mean, it wasn't long ago that you could find all of these still on many of the sites. The way we can find All Stars 4 now, but yeah, like they're starting to sell out, and the fact that they got a bunch of extra Malleus's in is just weird to me. I was kind of speculating it was cancellations, but I actually think it hasn't sold out yet, so probably not.
Zazar seems to be a really popular one too. I wouldn't mind having him.
Who's that? Zazar?
Zazar. I'm sorry, I'm not saying the names right. Zazar.
Yeah, Zazar. I kind of I only ended up getting one of him. I kind of regret that. Azar, his brother. I'm hoping the yellow one. I'm hoping we see that. Okay, so Babylon squared. Okay, I was like, why can't I read this word? Babylon. There were no Coliseum ones yet. Okay, gotcha. Cool. He'll sell out after the show. Okay, so those were the winners for All Stars 3, and then All Stars 4 ran very similar. So if you look at the figures that were available, subtract those 4 winners and then essentially bring in some more, and we're seeing figures now. We're seeing figures from, like, we're seeing the Fury Orc, Halmir. There might be 1 or 2 other ones from the Coliseum wave, and we're seeing Advent of Decay figures with Calavius. We're seeing Balam, Warrior, and Fastia from Siege Bjorngar, Wasteland. I forget exactly which wave that was, but yeah.
It seems
Hagnon,
like Scaphoid came up quite a few times in the voting, and I'm glad to see in 4 he actually did win one of those votes, but definitely one of those figures that I'm after.
Covenant of Shadows is an awesome wave, and yeah, Scaphoid's great. Let's check the chat here. Malleus pre-orders were open for months still on BBTS. Oh. Hedgehog got a Zazar at ToyCon. Nice.
Nice.
Hagnon. Yeah, so Hagnon was there. So there was...
Hagnon seems very unique, just being all clear plastic. I mean, obviously some kind of ghost, but is there any other story behind him? Because he seems like one of the most unique figures in the Legions line, just the way he looks.
I can tell you his story right now. Hang on.
I've got the right guy here.
This is how I store my figures. I actually picked up a Hagnon from that. I'm gonna do my next Kit Bash video. Is it my next one? Yeah, my next Kit Bash video is gonna use a Hagnon. So I got his bio right here. Once a proud soldier in the Order of Aetheron, Hagnon led a legendary campaign that led to one of the Congregation of Necronomus' greatest defeats. Later, hunted and captured by the treacherous brother Mandibulus, he was brought to the unforgiving Morgulith for his final reckoning. In a chilling act of revenge, Morgulith ended Hagnon's life and resurrected him as one of her own. Eternally chained and shackled for his crimes, he has become the menacing and forever conflicted ghostly agent of Necronominus. There you go.
Epic.
So he was a good guy converted over. And yeah, he comes with
cool.
He comes with the chains.
That's awesome.
So the weapons are painted.
They put so much thought into these backstories. Each single character has a very unique backstory, and they all kind of start to tie together once you start to see all the different legions and kind of how it all sort of ties. It's crazy the amount of lore in this line.
So have you heard this the BTS story of there was a Hafnon. So basically, I think the story goes they asked the factory to do Hagnon half blue glow, half green glow. And they thought they meant to split the figure down the middle and do half green and half, not split the supply, like half of the figures are green and half are blue. Yeah, this is it right here. They were going to have half the order of Hagnon's glow blue and the other half glow green, and they sent a sample that was half blue, half green. So you could probably dig it up, like a picture of literally split down the middle. The factory sample is half and
That's
half.
kind of cool though.
The lore is amazing. It is really good.
It really is. Yeah, especially for a guy that's coming into the line, or any new collectors. And I feel like there's been a lot of new people maybe with reinforcements and Poxus and Cosmic. So it's great to have that resource for sure.
Yeah. And so here are the winners for All Stars 4. As we know, these are the figures that are like currently out there right now. Oddly, I still need to grab a Mephitor and a Bryophytus, but Scaphoid, Sir Owain, Tibius, and Vetus. And where's Delphina in that pick? Was Delphina supposed to be in that vote last time? I can't remember. Anyway. So here's the winners for All Stars 4. And if we look at All Stars 4 vote, the initial vote, maybe I'm missing some because it sounds like maybe I missed a row or something. Where's Delphina in that pick? I might have missed a row. But and then you take out the winners and we're left with these. And I feel like we're going to maybe see some Wasteland figures show up. Like I could totally see one of these spots being filled in by Torgin Redfin, the dwarf with the bare chest and the big red mohawk. Maybe some others. And then I wonder, maybe they'll bring back some of the ones that were 1.0 wave. Like maybe their plans change a little bit. Maybe we're going to see some of those older ones come back and be available in the vote. Maybe they'll open it up wider and have a huge vote again. I don't know. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they're doing. And regardless of what they're doing, everyone's campaigning for their figures, even though they don't know what we're voting for yet. So what I want to do is I would love for the folks in the chat to share your All-Stars wants. What are your wants? What are you hoping to see in All-Stars 5? And if you have a campaign slogan or a pitch, I really want to see what you guys got over here. So
yeah, from what I understand, people get pretty creative. I'm in the Cabal, and I've seen a couple already of people kind of campaigning for certain figures.
I love Walter Hagen, who runs the Cabal, who just got his favorite Malleus reissued a year ago, and he's already campaigning for Malleus again. Last year, I campaigned. I kind of got into it, and I was campaigning for Scaphoid. So let me come back over. You know what I want to do?
And it became a reality.
Yeah, and I wonder if my campaign worked.
It must have.
I was doing kit bashes. I was showing people the swaps that you could do with Scaphoid even back then, and it was a popular post for sure. Zarya and Faunus. I'll take them all, please. Okay. I'd really like to get Aetheron and Morgulith. Yeah. Those are big heavy hitter names, so those would be nice. Gold Knight, Clavian, and Fastia. Yeah, Clavian's cool. That chromed out armor. So he's the red skull skeleton there.
Mm-hmm.
That chromed
really cool.
out armor looks great. I don't have a Clavian.
I'm a bit more partial to the skeletons, just at least now as I'm getting started. I mean, obviously there's a lot that are awesome, but I really love how the skeletons look too.
I'm going to actually share a new screen here. I'm going to go over to the Mythic checklist, and we're going to scroll around and look at some of these. I just got to figure out how to do it here. Let's see, share. Let me pull this down. And I want to share screen. I want to share a Chrome tab. checklist. There we go.
I'd love to see Azar personally, just because I know we're getting kind of the combination of Azar and Zazar. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
In the Proxys wave as Azar.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool to kind of see them reissue some of those.
By the way, folks, let's hear some reasons. Let's hear why you want these guys. Let's see. Nate says Romulus, Silverhorn Sentry, Halmir, and Morgulith. If they open up those, this would, in previous All-Stars, this would change.
I see what he's saying. So if they let us vote for some previous All-Stars, then maybe his list would change a bit.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people who... I put Vorgus on the thumbnail. I know a lot of people who'd like to see Vorgus again, who is awesome. No Legion builders will be in the All-Star vote since they are doing the reinforcements that way. That's a great point, Babylon.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Doran and Ilgar. Here's another Ilgar. Here's another Ilgar.
Ilgar seems very popular.
Yeah. I mean, it was just so wild that he was in the vote both of those years, and people were like, just based on the feedback, everybody seemed to want Ilgar both years, and he still didn't make it.
I feel like he's a good candidate. I mean, it seems like a lot of people are after him.
Yeah. Poxus brought Tyler in, so that's around the same time you came in, Nate, right?
Yeah, I'm around. Yeah, I'm with you, Tyler. Amazing wave.
Nimai makes a good point. I lost track of it. Here it is. You could get Morgulith as recently as last year from Big Bad Toy Store. Yeah, I mean, like, for some people, that's an eternity ago because they weren't collecting back then. But for folks like us who've been around for a while, it feels like some of those Advent of Decay figures are kind of long shots almost because they've been so available recently. Like, I mean, people, myself included, were just able to get this guy, Hagnon, from Big Bad Toy Store. So, yeah, Xylona
I wonder
is the only... Good.
I was going to say Arethyr. I feel like, if you missed out on that wave, that might be one that a lot of people are after. I know that came out fairly recently, but if you're kind of just jumping into the line, he seems like pretty... I have him personally. He's amazing. So,
yeah,
I can see that
but
being a
the
big one.
craziest thing is when Arethyr Wave went up for pre-order, I feel like All-Stars 2 was like, that was like All-Stars 2 was available. You could just go and buy like an Atlas back then. I feel like, so when that went up it's been such a long time that actually went up for pre-order. David's here. Clown Baby. I'm partial to vampires, skeletons, and goblins.
What's up, David?
Pixis would be a good addition if you got his brother Vetus. Yeah, I love Pixis. Pixis is great. Pixis is let me pull Pixis up here. Pixis is the blue skeleton that's based on Pixel Dan. Pixis, where is it?
Oh, I see him. Yeah, he's cool. And he's got the helmet too.
Yeah, he's got he's the Spartan skeleton.
Oh yeah, I love the colors.
Blue and gold.
Really awesome. Yeah,
he's a great figure. I actually was able to complete the Spartans this past year because of the Vetus reissue, because of All Stars, I
was going to ask, how complete is your collection? I would imagine it's pretty complete. No?
Okay. Not even close.
Okay.
I have lots and lots of figures. I might have as many figures as there are different figures, but I have so many duplicates of a lot of things that, it's like, so I got in, actually, let's pull up the Waves released page. I got in during, so you had 1.0, 1.5, Coven of Shadow is when I got in.
Okay.
And it so feels now like when you look at all this, it feels like that was like super early. But to me at the time, I had missed a ton of stuff. And I still wasn't even really in it with the All Stars 1. I had pre-ordered a couple figures, and then it wasn't until Advent of Decay pre-order that I really got into it. And I picked up a couple from Coliseum before Advent of Decay released, and then Advent of Decay released, and I got a bunch of figures in, and then it got like bigger and bigger, and I started pre-ordering a lot of these waves. Not all ins yet, but I was doing a lot more by the time Soul Spiller came around. Picked up some All Stars 2. So I really got in around Covenant of Shadow up to Soul Spiller was my dabbling era.
And you kind of said this earlier, but it seems like it's been a long time. But sometimes those, you'll pre-order and then they'll take maybe a year to come out. And so they might issue a few other pre-orders around that time. So it seems like you're early on, but you're still waiting for a while to get those. You know what I mean? And there's other stuff that's happening at that same time.
Yeah. One of the things about getting into this line is that pre-order length. And it's like you put in your first pre-order and then you sit and wait a year. And it's, it's tough because there aren't a lot out there in the secondary market. You can't just go buy figures that are already out.
Right.
And it takes a long time to get to that point where there's always something right around the corner. And because of that, I tend to usually get extras to help other people out or to like make some trades. And then also just because I never know what I'm going to like really love a figure for kit bashing and stuff. So I tend to get extras. And I think a lot of people switch over to that too. Once they start getting caught up, and it's not caught up with the line, but caught up with like, okay, so all the pre-orders that are currently out there, like those are behind me in terms of ordering and paying. And now it's just like waiting for the next one to go up for pre-order and for the next one to like hit.
Right. A lot of people are mentioning Balius, which I think would be an amazing reissue if they, even cooler if they did a repaint. But based on what you showed on some of those past waves, we haven't seen something like that get released in an All-Stars.
One of my predictions, this is my out there prediction, is that so we've seen them take the troll and like just add a troll with a new extra head to the All-Stars, right?
Okay.
One of my predictions is that they're going to do that with a horse. And I don't know if they're going to do that in All-Stars 5. I kind of wonder, maybe they will. The one that would make the most sense would be that they would do the ice troll now, but because they've been taking one and then adding the head from another one, do the ice troll with the Brontes head. But I think we're going to see that happen with a horse pretty soon. And maybe it'll be Balius with a new head or with a new saddle or something, with parts, make it into like a Clydesdale style horse with parts from,
I was going to say maybe a different style horse.
Yeah. Archimedes was my first. I wasn't planning on getting more, but then I looked him up and said, damn, he looks good. Archimedes is awesome. That was like, there you go. Let me pull you up. Archimedes is really good.
I have Bill to thank for this Balius, by the way. He kind of enabled me to get more into the line. It's okay. You don't have to zoom in.
Yeah. Okay. I want to learn. I gotta learn the thing. There you go. Conan. That was like my 1 and 2.
Yeah.
from
amazing horse though. Incredible.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see him come out because I feel like a lot of people may have missed him and now they're trying to get it in the aftermarket.
Yep. Speaking of pickups, I don't know if anybody saw my recent video of the dead frame. Oh, I'm not on the channel. I'm not on the thing. Hold on.
I was going to say, you're not here.
Let me. Exit solo.
There you go.
And then let me put myself up. There we go. The dead frame.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And would work so well, I feel like, in Legions.
Especially compared to the skeletons, you want to have them upright, the humanoids, the human skeletons. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty tall. And I think, it's a fair assessment. Like a lot of people think they're just too big for Legions. But with these guys hunched over like this, and just being a lizard man, like, and not an actual human, like, these guys totally make sense. These guys rock with legions. We're gonna move on pretty soon to the Mezco thing because we're gonna end at 9:30. This will be an hour. How much for Vorgus today? I think Vorgus is like, yeah, probably like 200-ish. You might be able to find it for cheaper, like in the group if you're a regular and have friends in the group. That Conan is amazing. I hope everybody ordered the deluxe Conan the Conqueror. That figure is going to be insane.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mezco, we're going to get back into our slideshow here and move into some Mezco stuff. So today, let me pull this other banner down. So today, the Toys Fair. So Mezco is doing their Toy Fair from home type of thing. And the Toys Fair exclusive is Atticus Doom, which was teased probably almost a year ago now, or maybe even longer. It was teased in one of the comic books. I think maybe the original Doc Nocturnal comic book, perhaps, which actually does put it a year and a half ago about that he was teased as like coming soon. And so here we have this, I don't know. I think it pulls on the occult. It pulls on Lovecraft stuff. It's, for
sure
got some magic type stuff, like some Doctor Strange, some Constantine type ideas flowing through it, but definitely a very cool looking figure. It's got some spell effects, kind of like work through these pictures. Stop me if there's any of these that you want me to isolate here.
Yeah, the tentacle hand here. I love how they included this because it's one thing I see D Amazing use a lot. And, maybe you'll have to get a few to recreate that, but you could use that in the shot. Just have the hand kind of off the side, but somebody fighting like a tentacle beast. That's where mine goes with that.
Right. For photography's sake, you can just have it be a tentacle in an image. Yeah. Right. Very cool.
Atticus feels like a really kind of breath of fresh air for Rumble Society. Like I love a lot of the stuff, but he's one of the most unique figures I think we've received in Rumble Society from what I can remember. Like a magic user, somebody just looks completely different. So I'm all about it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, me too. I really like the occult direction they're going with the Rumble Society, like with Doc Nocturnal, more on the fantasy side. You have that Cthulhu head. You have this, the Lovecraftian stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I said this to you before the show, but I know they're not really the same, but I could see this sort of fitting with Poxus maybe, or being an enemy that you could maybe have in a shot with some of the guys from Poxus, like other wizard users.
Yeah, you could totally bring those wizards into like this type of mixed fantasy world for sure. Mixed magic users. These guys are this is like almost a Victorian. I could see it going with like their the Gotham by Gaslight Batman and a few other things. But yeah, definitely a magic user.
The magic effects are cool. Yeah, that claw is really cool. I wonder if that's a changeable hand. I think it is because I saw in another picture.
It's on his hand somewhere.
Okay. It's just packed full of stuff. Like that's one thing I noticed is they packed in a ton of very unique accessories in this release.
There's the claw on the hand there.
Oh yeah.
Kind of makes me think of some of the boss fight stuff. They have like lobster claws on some of their figures. Tons of dope accessories to use for wizards and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm excited to get I keep saying this, but the Poxus wave with the magic effects that come, if you went, even if you didn't go all in, you could have got the different effects, but you can use a lot of those probably with Atticus here.
Yep. We haven't really seen the top of the head in these pictures, but we're going to get to it in a minute. And it's like, it creeps me the heck out.
Yeah.
I do love those. I love that, what they did with the eyes, with the flames.
Really cool.
Flaming skull.
Yep.
That is awesome.
And I like going to peg right in there too.
Yeah. And there we go. That's just the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
So awesome. There's
Dave
something
went too
hidden
far.
underneath the turtle.
The
Philosopher's
eyeball sunken into the
Oculus.
brain.
That's amazing.
It's yeah. I mean, there's a good point. Hedgehog.
That's
It's basically
true.
two figures.
Makes me wish I would have got two now. Now that you said that, I'm like, yeah, I could have had two different ones on the shelf and they look like two completely different things.
Yeah. I mean, take the jacket off. I actually
Mhm.
really like the look without the jacket.
I do
But
too.
here we go. Here's the kit. So we got the swap out heads. We got the eyes, all the different weird hands. Then we have the tentacle, straight, windy, magic
It says
effects.
bendy, interchangeable. Okay, so yeah, it should be bendy. I'm just really hoping that's articulated. Or at
Right.
least a posable wire or something. You know?
I feel like the one that's S-shaped is S-shaped, and the one that's straight is posable wire.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
That's my guess.
I would agree with that.
Because usually if something's a rubber with a bendy wire, it's not going to get into this S shape, but you might be able to wrap it around another character or something.
That's true. The magic effects are really cool. I like those. I can't remember. I mean, maybe it was strange the last time we got any kind of magic effects like that.
So what's coming out of this? What's coming out of this one here?
So
you have
that
the one
is
on the right top.
Right, and that's a portal of his hand. So you can attach any type of hand piece to that.
Oh.
It seems like so you could type the lobster claw, or the tentacle hand, or the Medusa hand. That's a pretty cool idea.
Coming out of
and it looks like the other side pegs to his arm, maybe, and then you've got the other piece that is the
so
rest
one
of his
side
hand.
is part of the sleeve, right?
Right.
And then the other side is where the hand pegs in. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
It's awesome. Really cool idea.
It's like when they did the flaming fist, right? But it wasn't the hand going into the fist or into the flame. It was you pop the hand off and then you pop the fist flame on like it's a hand itself.
Yeah, I think that was Iron Fist maybe that had that. I can't remember. But the Mystic Mist that you put around the collar is really cool.
Yep. And then what's this? I gotta zoom in here. What's this flame over here?
I think that's the one that goes on his hand. So like as he's using that magic effect, 'cause there's a hand that looks like it's kind of burnt. So I think you use that for that flame effect.
Right. Yep. He's got the cane. The cane looked a little large in his hand, like a little weirdly out of scale or something to me, but
yeah.
Cool piece anyway. The book has real pages. Kind of makes me think of Dr. Zaius's the Sacred Scrolls.
Yeah, I didn't get Dr. Zaius, but I remember watching your review and you were pretty impressed by how it's actual like paper.
It's so much detail.
Yeah. Hey man, I gotta say I was so glad that this wasn't some kind of swag bundle or something. I was really worried because I think Craig 13 was last year, and that was a swag bundle, and that was around like $175, which is pretty pricey. So to see that Atticus Doom came out for $95, I mean, I was surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually kind of like the swag bundles, but my budget is like it's roughed up right now. Like I don't have a lot of space for swag right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm kind of the same way. I don't dislike the swag. I really like the shirts and stuff, but it was nice to kind of have a break from that, I guess. But I do like how it's coming with a comic too. That's pretty cool.
I love the comic. Yeah, the comic is great. Yeah. I guess he's probably the same size. And did we get to the picture where he's with?
I think you showed.
Yeah, I didn't put that one in there. Did I not put that one?
No, I think you got it in here somewhere with Doc Knock.
Yeah,
it's one of the last ones.
We're looking for the Doc Knock because then that gives us a size. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, he might be
maybe
like
the same size.
Yeah,
maybe.
Hey, I'm cool with that. I like that. I like that Doc Knock body. I like that. It's the MCU Spider-Man body. They used it on Vapor. That smaller body. I think is cool.
Tons of articulation in that body.
Yep. I think for people who, do want to mix with more lines, the really smaller ones like those, it makes it tough, to mix with Marvel Legends or to mix with Mezco or other things. But I'm cool with it. I like it.
Yeah,
Go
me
back
too.
to where we were here. And so these are like extra various display stands for the magic effects and stuff, I would assume.
Yeah, I like how the base stand looks smaller, and then all of this looks very specific to the magic effects.
Mm-hmm.
But you could use this really for anything, which is exciting to me because sometimes you have a hard time. What am I going to use to put this in a shot or something? I'm always thinking about it from a toy photographer's perspective. Like, what could I use to create something else with maybe another accessory?
And then the comic book.
I'm excited to read that because there's always a tease for something else in there, right? They
There's
always have
a
something that they're
Slugfest
teasing.
page.
Yeah.
I remember I was the first person to post about the Slugfest page in the Cabal. Like when the Bag of Skulls first went up, or not in the Cabal, in the Mezco Facebook groups. When the Bag of Skulls, the original Bag of Skulls first went up, I scanned the thing, I ordered the Bag of Skulls, and I went on to the Mezco 112 collectors group or whatever, and I posted the link to the Slugfest page, and nobody had even heard of it at the time. I was like, holy cow, this is like a brand new thing. And I had
As usual, you're
I had the skulls in my hands. It was a day later. It was when they were shipping from New York. I'm in Boston. It was so fast that I got the skulls. It was ridiculous.
As usual, you're usually the first person that I see with unique information. So big thanks to you, Bill, because you're always very generous in sharing that information.
I'm the rumble whisperer.
You are, really. We call him Bill Stradamus in the Discord because he usually has a prediction. It's usually right. And he's always the first guy that shares something that nobody knows about.
Hedgehog needs a Doc Knock. If anybody has a Doc Knock for Hedgehog, hit him up.
Help him out.
Came to around 115 ship. They did have if you had ordered, was it the Advent calendar or the Christmas Gomez? One of those two, you got the Mistmas code, and it was, I think, $20 off of a future Rumble figure. And I think this was the first thing that was really eligible for it, because whatever the last thing was, it had its own coupon. Oh, the two Nautilus crew members, they had their own coupon or something. So most people probably wouldn't have used it on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I was able to use it to get it down from 95 to 75. And then I think it was $15 shipping. I'm lucky enough not to be charged tax from them still. So it was 90 shipped.
That's steal. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, I think you're right. It was from Christmas Gomez, the Miss coupons.
Yeah. Trevor used it on Nemo. Okay.
Nice.
Or possibly Nosferatu that night, that late night.
Went up an hour later, but yeah. Yeah,
right,
you're right.
Midnight Central Time.
Right.
All right. So any other last thoughts about Atticus?
I'm glad that we're finally seeing him because, like you said, this was teased a while ago. I think it's one that a lot of people have really been looking forward to. I'm really excited to see it in hand for sure.
Yeah, and of course, awesome photos by The Amazing.
Absolutely.
You can tell, the poses, the dioramas, and you can always tell when it's The Amazing stuff.
Yeah,
awesome lighting.
I mean, I think they made such a genius decision using him for a lot of their promotional stuff because if you look at prior to The Amazing. And I know they're trying their hardest, but it just always came across as maybe not the best picture sometimes, a lot of Photoshop. So to see a guy actually using it in the community that we're all kind of a part of, it really helps sell the figure for me.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to go full screen again here for a second.
Sure.
Is that going to be this? I don't know if anybody noticed, but I got my Razor Crest finally came in. Well, not finally. I got it pretty quickly, I guess. But and the Jawas are already starting in on it.
I was gonna say, it looks like you already got the Jawas scavenging it right now.
Yeah, I actually just opened it today so that I could have it back there for you guys to see. But I'm gonna play around with it until I haven't even pulled it apart yet or any of that stuff. I checked it and I just mostly a QC peek, and I yeah, I'm gonna dig into that probably tomorrow. No, I haven't seen any yet. I haven't pulled every single panel off yet, but I did attach the legs and I didn't have any issues with those flaps on the landing gear. My cards are great. They're pretty flat. Like they're not perfect, but like, yeah, my carded figures are good. I realized that I thought I had 2 acrylic cases, but I only have 1. I have to get another acrylic case. But yeah, so nothing so far. I do have to still go through some stuff though. I haven't gotten inside the ship yet, really. I am probably not going to do a review. The amount of effort it takes to do a review of something like that, and the fact that my channel is just not geared towards the 3 3/4 stuff, it's a lot of work for just not an audience that just doesn't. There's not a lot of people in my audience that are going to watch it, so I probably won't. But I will take extensive pictures, and I will probably do some of those little like shorts and videos with it. And I'll light it up and all that stuff, but a light kit would be cool. Yeah, for sure. And real quick,
let's Razor.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that Razor Crest looks like it really came out amazing. I mean, if you back that from HasLab, hopefully you're pretty happy with it because it looks like they really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's the silver is beautiful. The color is awesome on it. And yeah, let's just go just a couple more things. And then we'll call it a night. So we have they teased the back of the Robot Reaper's head Super 7 last week. And by the way, if you guys haven't gone in and listened to the various interviews that Brian Flynn did in the last couple of weeks, he was on Toy Bro, he was on Pixel Dan, a few others. Really good stuff. I love listening to Brian Flynn talking about this stuff, talking about all the I know nothing about Godzilla, but I love listening to those guys talk about, like, listening to Pixel Dan or Toy Bro talk to Brian Flynn about Godzilla stuff is just fascinating to me. Really good stuff. But yeah, so they have the Robot Reaper and the Black Falcon up for pre-order now. So we'll kind of like buzz through these real quick and call it a night. So the Robot Reaper got the renders don't look like it. These are just digital renders, but this is a cloth. It says in the description that these are cloth goods. So this is a cloth.
Oh wow,
cape.
That's cool.
You know, these are designed by 4 Horsemen, so you know there's a decent chance that C. Jessam maybe perhaps worked on these. I haven't seen him post about it, but you know they're doing a lot of work among the two like those 3 companies, so to speak, are working together a lot. And yeah, I mean it's really cool. The back of the head is the floppy disk drive. It comes with a Game Boy essentially.
I know. I see that the Game Boy floppy disk. You got the little time thing from like old school Windows.
Yep. Yeah. I really like that alternate head, and the one that's the darker phase with the red eye in the middle or whatever. I think that's gonna probably be something that'll look very cool on a Cosmic Legions figure, probably.
And there's just a lot of intricate detailing in that body sculpt. You know, if you look at like the middle of his body, there's the wires there. You can see kind of like the hydraulics on the pistons. You know, on his kind of abdomen and in his joints. It looks like they're colored like a gold. Just really, really cool. You know, little details that I'm noticing about this figure.
And they did a good job of making it look like a skeleton, but not like a skeleton, you know, like making it look like a machine that looks like a skeleton.
Right. Yeah. Well, like it's very clever with the way they painted it. You know, you have like the black that surrounds the silver, and the silver is kind of like the skeleton outline, if you think about it. So it's a really clever way to kind of like you said, make the skeleton body, but not really a skeleton.
Yeah.
Sort of tricks your eye.
Jacob hasn't delved into any Super 7 stuff yet. I'm pretty much right now just on the Conan line, and now I'm going all in on the worst. I've been wanting this for a long time, and I'm very excited that they're doing the worst with these, because I
I've got
never dug into the reaction ones of the worst, although that was something I was always tempted by, because I love those character designs and the names of them and all that stuff. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, really creative. Hey, this is their own IP, and I'm with you. I've got a lot of these pre-ordered already because I love the originality, the uniqueness of it.
Mezco reveal guesses.
I'm going to say Robin.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense for sure. I'm going to say now. I feel like there's going to be, like, I know that he's been pursuing Indiana Jones for a long time, and I don't know if like that's a big one, but like that's my wild prediction I make every year. There's been rumors of Turtles. I mean,
with the announcement of Indiana Jones and Hasbro, and I think you've said this before, but Hasbro and Mezco have sort of worked before, quote unquote. I don't really know the relationship there, but Mezco is making Power Rangers, which is a Hasbro
and G.I. Joe.
And G.I. Joe. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we might see Indiana Jones now that Hasbro has the license.
Right. If there's like some kind of a three-way thing between, Mezco works with Disney, right? Or, they Marvel, but like they work with Disney in that regard. Mezco works with Hasbro. Disney works with Hasbro. All three parties, they could. Another thing too is I don't know if this is a prediction, but it's something that I want. I want more fantasy from Mezco. I want more sword and sorcery, more Conan stuff, more stuff to fit in with Conan. And this is what I was just going to kind of get to. Rings of Power is a brand new show coming out that's going to be licensed out. And I know Diamond, or is it Diamond who does them now? I forget who has them right now. But yeah, Rings of Power. How about this? Witcher.
Oh, wow.
Witcher would be awesome.
That would be amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely one of the genres that they really haven't touched a whole lot of is fantasy.
And clearly with Conan, they can do it pretty darn well.
Yeah, we might see more Frazetta characters now that they have that relationship, and Conan's obviously selling very well. You got Death Dealer coming out pretty soon, so I could see more from that as well.
Yeah. Okay, and then here's the box. Love it.
So cool.
And then Black Falcon.
I gotta say, Black Falcon's probably I like him a bit more than the Robot Reaper. I don't know. There's something about him. He just looks. I love the coloring. Yeah, kind of like that bronze mixed with the black. It just really pops.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people say of the 4 figures that they currently have up for pre-order that this is their favorite. It is a really cool looking skeleton knight type guy. It's pretty sweet.
I don't know if it's like
Carter
flame or something, but the skull that's kind of like a orange, and then the hands that are orange. I don't really know what's going on there, but I like it.
Yeah. I wish, the one thing I do wish is that there were more of these types of photos with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just renders, but just to kind of see what those things look like on them. But
yeah, exactly. Like put the extra hands, put the extra head on there, just so I can see, like you said, what it looks like.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll start seeing the first ones. I know we can check their update page. They're doing like a shipment updates and like production updates on these, but I wonder if we'll start seeing, if they'll start sharing like factory samples or something of the first wave of the worst figures.
Yeah, Captain Deadstar and Batula are due in first quarter of 2022, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we might start seeing some samples show up.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it for us. I just want to say thanks. I think we topped 70 at one point in the previous couple episodes ago. It was 53 was like the highest. So thanks everybody for coming on and chatting with us. And I hope that the turnaround is pretty quick on the All Stars voting. Cause I'm just dying to see who's eligible for the vote. I'm very excited for the All Stars. I hope to see everybody's campaigns in the Cabal. And thank you, Nate, for joining out. And just remind people where they can find you, man.
Yeah, big thanks to you, Bill, for having me on. I'm honored to be here. If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at FIGURFAN_Nate. I do some awesome toy photography there. Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. Also, please check out our podcast, The Figure Booth with Prime to the First. We talk about toy collecting, the toy community, kind of all the stuff that I think a lot of people are dealing with on the day-to-day. So go check that out. Really appreciate it. And if you guys are here, please follow Bill if you're not already, and please smash the like button. We have a lot of people in this stream. I'd love to see the likes match the viewership. So thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody. Until next time, may the force be with you.